Welcome back, dear viewers. You are still watching The Breakfast Show, and in this segment of our program, we will talk about the industrial sector here in Egypt, as Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli confirmed the government's great interest in taking the various necessary measures to support and develop industrial sectors, which is one of the pillars of the Egyptian economy. This comes with the aim of advancing production and optimal utilization of the available productive capacities, especially those available in the private sector, and increasing exports to various external outlets, especially the African markets. And to shed more light on this issue, we are joined over the phone by Mr. Latif Wahba. He is a journalist. Good morning.
Good morning, yeah.
So, sir, can you talk to us more about the most important measures adopted by the government to support and develop the industrial sector?
As you know, that the government was directed by President Abdel
Yes.
to set a plan to increase not only to improve the industrial sectors, but also to increase our Egyptian exports outside, and they adopted a plan to achieve $100 billion in coming period. As you know, the government and the cabinet also took many procedures to the industrial sectors, as when they approved the golden license for the industrial people and investors, even local investors, and also the foreign and Arab investors in Egypt, as they were preparing and achieving or establishing their projects. And they, at the same time, as you know, that in the last period, they suffered from a bureaucratic actions. But President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi asked the government to facilitate all these procedures, and also they granted, the cabinet granted all the investors and all the different sectors of industries a golden license to start their work. This is on one hand. On the other hand, as you know, that also the government allocated directly the land in many Egyptian provinces for the industries, especially in Upper Egypt and also in the Delta and so on. The aim is to distribute the investment and the projects on all different Egyptian provinces. This is to give also these provinces their rights of investment, of development, and so on. And on the other hand, as you know, that all these projects and all the facilities presented by the government to the investors help at the same time to decrease the unemployment rate in Egypt. And according to the CADMAS 2 days ago, the unemployment rate was decreased by about 0.2% to 7% in the second quarter of the current year.
So also, sir, to what extent is the state keen on expanding the provision of non-financial services to the industrial sector?
Yeah, of course, as you know that at the same time, the cabinet and the approved also procedures, not only depending upon the financial incentives, but also upon other incentives. As building the main infrastructures in industrial zones, and also allocations of the land for the different sectors of industries. They approved this policy, of course, to attract the foreign direct investment to Egypt. They are targeting to increase it to about 15 billion US dollars in current fiscal year. As you know that during the last 2 years, Egypt, as many countries, suffered from the decrease of the foreign direct investment due to the Russian-Ukrainian crisis, due to also the COVID-19 in 2001, and so on. So the government is trying to face or to meet all the demands of the foreign direct investors in Egypt, and to attract them even the established projects to increase their also direct investment in Egypt, and to attract new investment.
Yes. Also, during the ministers' meeting, they talked about operating 2 regular shipping lines linking Egypt with the countries of Eastern and Southern African countries, the COMESA countries, and the countries of North and West Africa. So can you tell us more about these plans?
Yeah, of course. As you know that the increase of the Egyptian exporters outside, or at least to achieve the targets of 100 billion US dollars a year in exporters, for example. There are many other procedures. These procedures depend upon how to connect the Egypt markets to the foreign African markets. So prime ministers held a meeting with the industrial federations, also with the Chamber of Commerce and so on, and all the businessmen working in Egypt, and asking them to cooperate in joining or contracting with the maritime companies to increase the Egyptian exporters to the African countries. As you know that Egypt, as many African countries, has only 2 ways to increase their or its exports to the African countries, maybe by air cargo, or by a maritime network, or ships and vessels and so on. As the air cargo is so expensive, so they are trying to attract a new maritime lines to Egypt, to increase the Egyptian exporters to the African countries. And this is the main point they are concentrating on it during the Prime Minister's meeting with the Chamber of Commerce, with the industrial federations, and with also all the different sectors of businessmen.
Yes, I'd like to thank you so much, sir, for your this precious information, Mr. Abdel Latif Wahba, Ministerial Council journalist. Thank you for being with us. And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of the Breakfast